Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Parents Aging. It is your host, Nicola Robinson, and my lovely co host.
Olivia Smith, we are back together.
Yes, it's not as often that we get to do an episode together, so I'm very excited.
It is
So
sad.
today is kind of a freestyle episode. We thought we would give you guys an opportunity to kind of hear a little bit more about our law practice and how to prep for that practice because we so often get people saying, okay, I would like to come and sit down and talk to you guys. And we would like people to be a little bit more prepared or give some thought before they come to that initial appointment. So, you want to kick us off? You want me to start?
You can start and then I'll just chime in as the spirit leads.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good. So I handled primarily the planning side of our practice. So when you think about doing a will or doing a trust, more likely you will meet with me. When people come in, I would love before they even get past go, is to fill out the questionnaire. We send out a questionnaire before every initial appointment. And that's an opportunity for us to get to know the client, get to know what their goals are. This may be the first time some of them have even given any real thought to why they want to get their estate planning done. Sometimes we hear about it in the news, somebody died and, families fighting, or right now it's so trendy on TikTok when you talk about legacy or you talk about
Yes.
generational wealth or I need a trust. And so these social media platforms are putting these terms out there and people are feeling like, okay, I need that too, without really giving a little bit deeper thought as to why. And so that questionnaire is your first time to sit and pause and ponder as to what your priorities are and why you may want these particular documents so that when you come into our conversation, I can really start there. We can start with what your goals are. So that's one of the things that I personally love before we even get deep into the meeting. How about
And
you,
if
Lily?
I can say that questionnaire, so we use it for us, but really it's for you because maybe you wouldn't be surprised at how many people don't know what they own. And so it's an opportunity for you to do an accounting. What do I own? What banks are my accounts in? Whose name is on my deed? I don't know any of these. I know, I haven't looked at a lot of these since I opened them, whenever that was, or since I bought this property, whenever that was. So it is an opportunity for you to get a handle on what you own, how you own it, and then who are the people in my life, because we ask about people too. And so it allows you to get a handle on those things. And so when we start asking about those things in the consult, this isn't the first time that you've thought about or considered those things because you've had to prepare, because you've had to fill out that questionnaire.
I do tell people the questionnaire itself is a gift because
Yes.
the questionnaire is an ability to get organized. So whether we want you to become a client, but if you don't, for whatever reason, you still have this tool now that
Yeah.
you can share with friends and family. So if something were to happen to you and you never did do your estate plan, at least your children are not left trying to figure out, well, where do they bank? Well, where's the life insurance? Because you use the questionnaire to gather that information. And so that's why I tell people download, keep it safe even if they've done their estate planning with us, go ahead and put that with your documents as well, so that your kids will have that information all in one place. Because it's very rare that any of us have taken the time to sit down and actually write down all our bank accounts, write down all our life insurance, write down all of our different assets. So it's a gift in and of itself.
It really is. And on the probate side, because I do mostly all of the probate work, there is a questionnaire as well. Usually probate comes about when someone has passed away. And so it is also an opportunity for you to figure out what information you have and and then what information you have no idea about because you don't know where that person stored it or that person never shared that information with you. And so in both instances, you come to the consultation more prepared because you've kind of done that evaluation. And so it's going to ask about the deceased person's assets. It's going to ask about their heirs, like who is the next of kin. And so it gives you the opportunity to have all of these answers, or to at least have thought through these things. Is there a will? Gives you the opportunity to look and see if you can find a will. Do you have the original? So these are things that if you do the questionnaires, you have checked off a lot of things on the list before you even get to us. And so we can have a more robust and a more fruitful conversation.
So once those questionnaires are complete and you come to our appointment, you want to talk about how that works? What goes on there? Mhm.
So the appointment is really, and I told someone yesterday, it's like a first date, right? I'm filling you out, you're filling me out, to see if our personalities match. Sometimes people just aren't a good fit, like personality wise, they're not a good fit. They may be a good client in every other aspect, but we have to be working closely together. And so we need to be working closely with people that we're going to get along with, that we kind of speak the same language, that we understand each other. And so it's not a contentious relationship. And so when you come to the consultation, you should be evaluating whether I'm a good fit for you, because I'm evaluating whether you're going to be a good fit for me. Um, and so some things that are red flags. Let's talk about
Red
let's
flag.
talk about red flags. If you come to the consult and you are already telling me that you know more than me, and you're telling me how to do my job, or you telling me what you heard and you aren't receiving the information that I'm giving you, that's a red flag for me. Um, that means that there's going to be like a struggle, like a push and a pull through the course of our relationship. And that's just not the kind of relationship, client attorney relationship I'm looking for.
No,
Nicola, what's a red flag for you?
it's already a red flag if you did not fill out that questionnaire.
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason is because that tells me how serious you are about actually completing your estate plan, because a lot of estate planning is really organizing and really giving some forethought before we put something down on paper and memorialize what it is that you want. And so if you have not even taken that first step, you ain't even tipped your toe in the water, we're probably not going to get very far. So that one is a big red flag for me. If you come frazzled, ill prepared, haven't given any thought to the topic at hand, we might not end up in a relationship.
Another red flag for me is if you come, or if you've reported out that you've had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other attorneys, and it didn't work out, y'all, you keep breaking up with attorneys, you are the person that is, you are the common denominator. And chances are, if you've broken up with 10 attorneys before me, I'm probably going to be the 11th. So to me, that's a red flag, that there is some issue with that relationship, and with your idea of how that relationship goes. And I'll say this: most people haven't had a attorney client relationship, right? Like through the course of their life. And so I understand that sometimes you don't know how this is supposed to go. Like this is new to you. But you have to at least come with like an open and a willing spirit. What about anything else that sticks out to you, Nicola, where you're like,
Or even from the estate planning side, if you've consulted with 5 or 6 other attorneys,
yes.
because why haven't you pulled the trigger on doing
Mhm.
your estate plan? And sometimes it's I know for some people it's difficult to think about a possibility of them not being here. But if you're 4, 5, 6 attorneys in,
Yeah.
you've been faced with this question a couple of times now. And so that says to me that you're probably just looking for free information, or you're just not, ready to actually take the steps. And so that is a red flag for me if you've already had that first meeting and you've already filled out questionnaires. Because we've had people come to us with questionnaires from other people's offices, and they're just like, yeah, I never got past this part. Okay, why?
Right. And on the estate planning side, because I sometimes do estate planning as well. To that point, people that aren't ready to make decisions, we will get into an estate plan and you will change your mind three or four. And every time you change your mind, I have to go back and change the documents. So if you have not made the decision that you're doing this and you keep changing your mind, that is a red flag for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, that's I think in terms of red flags before you even, get into the meeting. That is the biggest ones for me. I can't think of any other ones right now.
What about red flags if you're a client, attorney red flags that maybe our listeners should be looking for when they are meeting or they are, having a consult with an attorney? What are some things that they should be looking for, would you say?
I think on the estate planning side, whether you come to our office, go to somebody else's office, remember this is your plan at the end of the day. And so that attorney should be recommending based on their experience, but not forcing.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, like this should be a decision that you're comfortable with, and this plan should suit you and your family. So if you come to me and I say my recommendation is to do a trust, but you're not comfortable with the trust, you're like, right now, I think we're just not there. That's fine as long as you're comfortable with the decision. But there are some people who are, especially on the estate planning side, you'll see some offices where they're just cranking out these wills. They are a paper mill, for lack of a better word. And so they're going to give everybody a trust, or they're going to give everybody a will because they're not taking that time to really get to know you. So when you do meet with an attorney, find out what that process is. How many meetings am I going to have with the attorney? Am I actually going to speak to the attorney? About designing and creating my plan. Because if it's just a fill out this paper and we spit out a will kind of situation, that probably should be alarming.
That is, that's a good one. I would say also you are creating some sort of relationship if you hire that person. And so when you meet with them, like what feel do you get from them? Are they willing to take time? Do you feel rushed? Are they willing to explain and answer your questions? I think that that is a big one. And are you going to feel comfortable opening up to them? Because at the center of our relationships on either probate or estate planning is your ability to tell us and your willingness for us to get in your business. Like we get all in your family, all in your financial business, and you have to feel comfortable sharing those things that you probably aren't sharing with everybody. And so there is a level of comfortability that you need to have with the person that you are hiring to either to probate your loved one's estate or to do your estate planning for sure.
So I think that's an absolutely excellent point because for us to help make a recommendation as to what would be the most useful plan for you on an estate planning side, I have to know your financials. I have to
Yes.
know what your assets are. And so sometimes people are like, I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing all that kind of information. Then I can't really make a recommendation because you come in and you tell me I don't have nothing but one bank account. Well, then I'm like, okay, well, we might not need a trust. We might just need to do a pay on death or a transfer on death. But you didn't mention it was $1 million in that account.
Fact.
There's all these, and then you have children that have drug problems. You forgot to mention that part too. So those are the things that we have to know to be able to help you to better make a plan that is going to fit your goal. But just saying I just have one bank account isn't going to give us the level of detail and
Yes.
information to help you make the plan that is going to work.
And I'll use a personal example. Nicola and I decided, okay, we needed to really work on investments. We needed to work on our investments, firm wide, personal wide. And so we reached out to a financial planner. and I'll speak for myself. Nicola can amen if she felt the same. I was very hesitant because I felt like I wasn't where I needed to be. And I didn't really want to talk about it because I didn't want anybody else to know that like I felt like I wasn't where I needed to be in this area. Um, and the person we reached out to was so warm, so welcoming, so positive, didn't make me feel like I had failed at life. We of course hired him, but it then encouraged me, full disclosure, to just give him all my business because I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like he was, saying in the back of his head, she's an attorney, she's supposed to have all this together. He was just like, okay, well, this is where you are, this is what we need to work with. And so the same thing when you're going to attorneys, you need to find an attorney where you feel comfortable just giving all the business, and that you're not going to feel judged or feel like you need to hold anything back because, the attorney is making some sort of judgment about you.
And I think we see that a lot, especially with people who are making plans. They may be different for their children. Like they may have multiple children, but they want to give stuff to one child over another child, and feeling some type of guilt or shame about like making these different distributions. And this has to be safe space. There is no judgment here. You
Yes,
have your reasons for why you want to design your plan the way it is, and being comfortable with the attorney enough to be able to explain those reasons so that we can best capture what
absolutely.
needs to be on paper so that your plans and wishes are actually able to be executed down the road. No, I think that's a great one.
Oh, I agree. All right, so these are things they should be looking for in as they're meeting with the attorney. So what's next?
So once you meet with the attorney, are they using big words? Are they
Hmm.
using a bunch of legalese, trying to show you all, their degrees on the wall? If you walk out of there and you still don't really understand what the hell they was talking about,
Problem.
that is probably its own issue. And I think that's one of the things we pride ourselves on here at the office, is making sure people understand what it is that they are doing. Yes, there's some terms in these documents you may not be familiar with, per stirpes, per capita, all this other jazz. Um, but at the end of the day, have I thoroughly explained to you, based on the goals you told me, here's what the recommendation is, here's how we can meet that goal. And then you can intelligently be able to repeat it to somebody else because you have a real working understanding of what it is you're doing.
Nicola, how many times has someone come into a consult for estate planning with an estate plan that they've already done and they have no idea what is in that estate? They have no idea what they have planned.
All the time. I mean, I see it all the time. And it's so unfortunate because they may have spent a ton of money on these documents and they bring them in, they just say, here. And I didn't feel comfortable asking the attorney questions. I'm like, but you paid them. Or
Right.
they never explained it to me. They just told me I needed this and then they gave me something. What? This is your plan. This is for your family. This is protection of the people that you love. So making sure that this is going to do what you think it's going to do and say what it's supposed to say, and you have a clear understanding of what these documents say, is important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many times we see that. I mean, it's heartbreaking, honestly. Mm.
I think after you get past that, and as you decide, okay, I'm going to hire this attorney, I think an important part is to establish the expectations so that you can manage your expectations at the beginning. Because when you don't, I think it makes for a rocky relationship. And so I think it is, as attorneys, we need to be managing expectations and saying, this is how long this takes. This is when you should expect a call or expect an email. And if the attorney doesn't do that, you need to be asking,
Mm.
so that you then know what to expect in that next phase.
Absolutely. I think that sometimes you and I we've been doing this a long time. And so we know the timelines
Right.
or lack thereof. Let me say that as well. Especially on the probate side. There's a lot of questions